across the globe, from the bustling streets of Minneapolis to the orderly neighborhoods of Stockholm and the vibrant markets of Nairobi, a single name evokes a complex tapestry of emotions: Somalia. For decades, its people have fled a homeland shattered by one of the world's longest-running civil wars. They have sought refuge, safety, and a future. Yet, in recent years, a palpable backlash has grown. A rising tide of resentment and fear directed at Somali communities abroad. Welcome to Andy's Thoughts. Subscribe for more. With some of these members being said to be showing allegiance to their home country, the Arab League, or the Muslim Brotherhood, while showing mockery to their hosting nations. Since terror attacks in 1998 in Kenya and Tanzania, 9/11 in USA, among others, some questions are being raised by their hosts. Like, are they taking advantage of our generosity, play nice, occupy positions, multiply, and then bring Sharia laws that failed Somalia to our country? Are they really going to assimilate to our culture or form a parallel system in our country? This is not a simple story. It is not a story of inherent fault or collective guilt. It is a painful human story about the collision of trauma and opportunity, about the difficult path of integration, and about how the actions of a few can stain the reputation of the many. To understand this global moment, we must listen to the perspectives on all sides. Part I: The Fractured Homeland and the Weight of History. Our story begins not abroad, but in Somalia itself. Since 1991, the nation has been trapped in a cycle of conflict, a brutal civil war fueled by clan rivalries and the vacuum of a failed state. From this chaos rose the extremist group Al-Shabaab, exporting an ideology of violence that would reach far beyond Somalia's borders. In neighboring Kenya, which has generously hosted millions of Somali refugees for over 3 decades, this violence came home. Al-Shabaab militants crossed the border, committing atrocities like kidnapping of tourists, a major player in the Kenyan economy, which forced the Kenyan government to send troops over to Somalia, an effort that has brought a little stability to Somalia. In retaliation to their last kicks of a dying donkey, the Al-Shabaab carried out major attacks in Kenyan soil like the 2013 Westgate Mall siege and the 2015 Garissa University attack, which claimed hundreds of Kenyan lives. For many Kenyans, the line between a desperate refugee and a deadly militant became dangerously blurred in their minds. Furthermore, social tensions simmer as some Kenyans report encounters with a minority of entitled individuals of Somali origin who mock local culture and traditions, calling them Naiwe Ngumu, which translate to people with bad hair, poor, ugly, but enjoying the peace and stability enabled by Kenyans, while also claiming that they aren't Africans, but Arabs, fueling a resentment, anger, marginalization that overshadows the peaceful coexistence that should be shared by millions. This is the heavy baggage of history and security that follows the diaspora, a shadow not of their making, but under which they are often forced to live. Part 2: The Struggle to Belong in a New World. Fleeing this chaos, hundreds of thousands sought sanctuary in the West. Nations like Sweden and the United States opened their doors, often with noble intentions. Sweden, facing a demographic shift, saw a need for new energy. America, a nation of immigrants, offered its promise, but the path to integration proved treacherous. In Sweden, a policy of multiculturalism sometimes led to unintended segregation. Some communities became isolated, with high unemployment and social exclusion. In these pockets, gang violence found a foothold, and a minority clung so fiercely to their native identity that they showed little loyalty to their new home, leading to a profound sense of betrayal among Swedes. The government's recent offer of substantial funds for voluntary repatriation stands as a stark admission of this policy's strain. In the United States, a different scandal erupted. In Minnesota, federal prosecutors uncovered one of the largest pandemic aid frauds in the nation's history, totaling over $1 billion of hardworking American taxpayers. While the defendants were individuals, the fact that many were of Somali descent cast a long, dark shadow over the entire community. Noble programs meant for childcare and feeding the hungry were hijacked by greed. This, coupled with inflammatory political rhetoric labeling the community as a burden, created a perfect storm of backlash. Hard-working, law-abiding Somali American business owners and professionals now face suspicion for crimes they did not commit. Part 3. The Mirror and the Path Forward. So, is the global backlash justified? Why is everywhere, with Somali refugees, a cloud of resentment towards the Somali people? To blame an entire global community for the sins of civil war, the crimes of terrorists, or the fraud of criminals is a profound injustice. The vast majority of Somali diaspora are peaceful people seeking a better life, contributing as entrepreneurs, doctors, teachers, and neighbors. However, to ignore the legitimate grievances of host communities is equally unwise. Integration is a two-way street. When a small minority engages in mockery of local customs, self-segregation, or criminal exploitation of the very systems that offer refuge, it fractures the essential bond of mutual respect. Therefore, the path to cohesion requires courage and action from everyone. To host nations and communities, security policies must be precise and just, not based on collective punishment. Investment in inclusive integration, language, job training, and cultural exchange is not a luxury, but a necessity for social peace. The narrative must shift from one of perpetual suspicion to one of shared future. To the Somali diaspora communities, the responsibility to police your own is real. Community elders and leaders must openly condemn criminality and antisocial behavior that brings shame on all. Actively reaching out, participating in civic life, and showing loyalty to the new soil that offers safety are the strongest rebuttals to prejudice. Embracing the beautiful complexity of a dual identity, Somali and Kenyan Somali and American Somali and Swedish, is the way forward. Conclusion: a shared humanity. The story of the Somali diaspora is a mirror held up to our world. It reflects our capacity for compassion and our instinct for fear. It shows how the wounds of a broken nation can ripple across continents for generations. The recent backlash is a symptom of a relationship under immense stress. Healing it requires acknowledging a hard truth, that refuge is not just a gift given, but a trust earned. It requires the host to offer a genuine chance, and the guest to honor the hand that lifts them up. Only by moving beyond broad stereotypes on all sides can we write a new chapter, one defined not by backlash, but by belonging. Subscribe to Andy's Thoughts for more.